cigarette industry continues to decline according to the latest earnings from the tobacco giant Philip Morris. The company is investing heavily in its heated tobacco products. This comes at a time when vaping continues to be linked to serious lung problems. Philip Morris says its Iquos system burns tobacco at a lower temperature and leads to a 90 to 95% reduction in chemicals compared to regular cigarettes. In the third quarter, cigarette shipment volumes fell by nearly 6%, while sales of heated tobacco units rose by nearly 85%. We've got Andre Kalantzopoulos, the CEO of Philip Morris International, joining me now. And Andre, great to have you with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, really good to have you. So I know that you want people to kick the cigarette habit. That's one of the big messages that you're sending, which is so different to what we've been hearing from tobacco companies for decades and decades. Is your Iquos system a viable solution for those that don't really want to vape, but yet still want the tobacco experience?
Well, Iquos is designed to convince people who smoke and would otherwise continue to smoke to switch to this product, and because it contains tobacco that is heated at low temperatures.
So it's different to vaping, basically. I mean, you've got to draw that distinction.
It is different to vaping because it heats tobacco. Vaping heats a liquid and evaporates a liquid. But the taste and satisfaction of the tobacco product is much closer to cigarettes, although it's still different.
So you've got FDA approval, which is very different to what we've seen in the vaping industry, but yet are you then not bundled into a vaping product that has received the bad rep recently? Because, I mean, in the US alone, 1,500 people have been linked to, deaths have been linked to vaping.
Well, let's look at the things one after the other. There is an authorization of the FDA for Iquos, and it's the only product that contains tobacco, obviously, that has been through the FDA process. It is now the e-vapor products have also to go as of May next year through the same process, and I think there will be some that probably will not pass, and others that will eventually be authorized. Now, as we said, the products are slightly different, but they have one characteristic, all of them. They don't burn tobacco, so they're smoke-free. And that's where you start seeing the difference in terms of being a better alternative than cigarettes for the people who smoke. There is a lot of controversy, as you said, around the vapor products in the US, and observing from the outside, I think there is a lot of confusion sometimes. Yes, there are very regretful losses of life and illness related to lungs, but as the investigation by the FDA and the CDC goes on, we see that they are related much more to the use of oils or THC oils and not the traditional nicotine-containing products.
I get you.
And we should stop this confusion for the one, for this very many people.
But when you don't have regulation and policy over these products, you can't eliminate the fact that there might be an issue with all vaping products, and that's the problem. And you've got 50% of Americans that don't trust vaping products at the moment.
Well, but first of all, this is an issue because properly manufactured e-vapor products and closed systems, so we cannot alter the temperature or the liquids used, are better than cigarettes, and I'm sure the PMTA process to the FDA will eventually prove this. We have to be very careful when we have all these inflammatory trials, titles and conflation, because there are more than 12 million people in the US and many around the world that use e-vapor products. And giving the impression that they are worse than cigarettes or equally bad as cigarettes, I think it's a very, very bad thing.
So, I mean, look, Altria deal, that fell through, and it happened during the height of the issues with Juul as well. Are you almost relieved that the deal didn't happen? Because you would have been on the inside. You were saying you were watching on the outside, but, you would have been on the inside if the deal did happen.
The issue remains the same, and it's an important issue to be addressed. As I said, for us, be it in the US or internationally, what we need from a consumer perspective, the people who smoke, and 1 billion people smoke, we absolutely need to eliminate confusion, because otherwise people will stay with cigarettes. And what is going to happen to people that got temporarily confused here, they go back to cigarettes? Is that a public health desire?
But my question was, I mean, you would have been on the inside, and if a deal happened with Altria, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you would have been a lot closer to it. Do you want the partnership, the deal to happen with Altria, and now you just have a partnership in terms of distribution?
Okay, but as a participant in the new categories, alternatives to cigarettes, we are a participant in the category. I think what you said previously is an important point. All these products that contain nicotine must be regulated. And I think as we go through the process with the FDA, clarity will prevail, and I think that will be for the benefit of the people who smoke and public health.
Very quickly, is it difficult to convince the consumer that smokes cigarettes to move to your Iquos system? Because a lot of people, it's a cultural thing, it's an enjoyment, it's about, you know, having a cigarette with a cup of coffee.
Look, it's not easy. And that's why we've put all the resources we can, shifted resources from cigarettes completely almost, put additional money behind, took a very different approach along the consumer journey.
So you're
but
Greek.
I think we are.
Look at this graph. You're Greek, right? So am I. And I know everyone in Greece smokes. Look at that number. High smoking rates in the world sitting at 43%. How do you convince people like that?
Well, actually, Iquos is progressing very well in Greece.
Yeah.
If we look at the world, we have already close to 13 million people that moved out of cigarettes and switched to Iquos.
Yeah.
And in Greece, we're reaching about 10, 11% of total consumption, combined cigarettes and Iquos. So I think it's pretty successful in just a few years.
Yeah.
It is complicated, but you know the heart and the money is there. So I think we'll continue.
And you're making more
with
money from Iquos than what you make from cigarettes, yeah?
The margins are a bit better.
Yeah.
Of course, there is a lot of investment up front, but you know, Iquos for the first 3 quarters of the year is $4.1 billion revenue.
Thank you very much, Andre. Much appreciated for your time. What an interesting transition in an industry that's been going on for